Okay, so I'm determined today to do some kind of seed starting planting up. Um, this is my kale bed. Some of these are super dry and I'm gonna replace these with some other greens starting. These could probably be potted up slash potted outside if I want to put like a cloche over it, because they're kale and they're a little bit cold hardy. Same with these sugar snaps. Because you can see they've grown up and they've hit the light enough that the tips are a little singed. But I'll probably put those into bigger pots and just keep an eye on them. These are the butterfly blue pea flower, and they're really kind of tropical, so they're gonna stay inside, and I'm probably gonna baby them a bit more, so they'll stay in this size pot. The tomato seedlings, however, probably should have been planted up probably a while ago, because all of this is a little overgrown. Okay, so I don't have quite as enough self-watering seed trays, so I'm gonna make one more of those and then cut out some brand new fabric for this one. But how I basically do this is, these go in these kind of overhead grid patterned light fixtures in commercial buildings, but it is also a level surface that allows drainage, that when I cut it to the right size is a good surface for putting any kind of wicking fabric across here, so that I can place plants, and when the well down here is full of water, it'll wick up and then get into the roots. That way the plant is making roots downwards instead of relying on surface water, which is great because we want good roots for good transplants. Okay, so this guy's been cut out. Next, we need cloth that will go into the liquid and then over the top of the frame here. So I just kind of guesstimate it. It needs to go about down this height and then down the same height on the other side, so I can use that as measurement. Kitty's here too. Okay. Alright, so let's finish cutting this, pop it on top, be right back. Okay, done. So in the grand scheme of growing plants, I have until I think second week or so of May to turn this into something that will survive getting put out into the ground. So for me, that means I'm gonna put a little extra juice into the different dirts that I plant up my pots into. So the basin here, regular dirt compost, cheapest I could find at Home Depot. I sprinkled in a little bit of this, really just whatever I had left in this box. I've got perlite, which I'm going to be about that generous with. And then this is vermiculite, which is about the same. These mostly just aerate the soil, keep it retaining a little bit of moisture. And then I got worm castings. So I'm going to try these in here as well. Not too much, because this is just soil for intermediate planting. They're going to be potted up into bigger and bigger pots as we go along. This is roughly how I want it. It's in a bit of a ball, but it still falls apart just as easy. Friday, really big and beautiful. These are going to go in my sunniest spot. Have not grown them before, but I also haven't been growing tomatoes for that long either. So I'm just going to, I think, gently tease apart from under, kind of get these root systems just gently disentangled. And it already smells like tomato. Like the scent is coming off of the plants. So nice. Just be very gentle. This is probably why I waited a little too long, because they're very long in the stalk. So the worry is that the roots that I come away from after I tease these apart aren't going to be very strong. But we will see. Here we go. 1 plant, 2 plant, 3 plant, 4 plant. So I tried plugging these into already filled holes and that didn't work so hot. So I'm just gonna very gingerly put them down as far as I can in an empty one and then backfill. And I feel like I'm getting a much deeper plant that way. So these look a little sad. They will perk up once they get adjusted. They're used to growing really close together and leaning on each other, but in their new pots they will eventually learn to step up on their own. So I finished planting out the last of the little Berkeleys. So those are all my Berkeley tie-dyes. And then I think I'm just going to go ahead and plant out the cherries and the paste tomatoes as well. So those will fill up probably the rest of these. So I will be back. I've got a couple of things planted out and transplanted. These spots used to be kale that just wasn't getting the right amount of moisture. So I'm going to be using those as some of the first spots where I'm pricking out the agastacia. So this was a really light seed starting mixture. So it'll be really easy to kind of disentangle the stronger ones here. Start with this little section. And we're just, it's called pricking out. It's more like teasing out when it gets to this size. But I'm just teasing out that one little plant. I'm finding a nice little spot for it. And boom, one little agastacia. I'm gonna finish out the rest of this. Here's the work so far. 3 pots of about this size filled with seedlings have become 1, 2, well, just 2 of the tomato seed trays, but also my little agastacia seeds I tucked in the blank spots of this tray where I took out some of the dead kale and the pea shoots, and so that's all agastacia. And the kale is doing okay here. The sunflowers I'm leaving, the nasturtiums I'm leaving. I will come back tonight and do the bee balm. This is more agastacia, but we've got bee balm. It should be amazing. I do have a whole other tray of this. So a full size of this one turned into almost a full tray. So I could either do another full tray of agastacia and see what it does outside in the weather as it is, or I could focus on my actual April seed starting list, which includes like marigolds and okra and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, you can see they look a little floppy. Hopefully they will get tall and strong as they reach towards the sunlight. So that's that.